And we should be live. What's going on, guys? How you doing on this fine Friday evening here in the UK? The sun is out. The sun is out. The rays are coming, man. You know, some nice weather. Summer is on its way, which I'm so glad. I fucking can't stand winter. Every year I get older, I resent living in this country more and more, man. And the weather, man. The weather is one of those reasons. Can't stand the weather in this country, man. But the last few days have been really nice for March, like really nice sunshine, clear blue skies, a lot of hotties about, parading in less clothes, which is always nice. We can't complain, you know? So, yeah, I mean, this week weather-wise has been really good. Been a stressful fucking week other than that, I'll be honest, man. It's been fucking stressful. Got a lot of dumb shit to contend with right now. You know how certain little things add up, dumb stuff, but it all adds up. And makes you want to pull your hair out kind of thing, But we've got MMA in the house. Big up to yourself. I like the avatar. Anthony Monzano, big up to yourself. Alexander Usyk has now publicly confirmed that he is taking the rematch with Anthony Joshua. That's very good to hear. That's very good to hear. Obviously, the world right now is kind of crazy. So hopefully that situation, resolves itself. But yeah, I'm glad to see Usyk back training and, preparing for a fight. That's what I'm glad for. I'm glad. And Anthony Joshua, he's added James Ali Bashir to his training regiment. Great choice, in my opinion. Vastly experienced, decades in the game, a long history of working with heavyweights. And of course, once upon a time, he worked with Alexander Usyk at the start of Usyk's pro career. So I think that's a good addition for Anthony Joshua. I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to this rematch. I know the first fight was one-sided, but you can never rule a guy like Joshua out with his power and with his athleticism and explosiveness. So you can never really rule Joshua out, and maybe a couple of adjustments could lead him to landing that perfect shot. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to it. Anthony Manzano, I know you're a boxing fan, but are you a pro wrestling fan? Because if you are, Triple H just retired from in-ring competition. I mean, back in the day, I used to love wrestling. Late 90s, early 2000s, I used to love wrestling. My favorite was Stone Cold. Stone Cold, The Rock, those guys. But yeah, I know Triple H. He was wrestling when I was a kid. And yeah, rest in peace to Razor Ramon as well. Rest in peace to Razor Ramon. The bad guy, man. The bad guy. That guy, man. When I was young, I wanted to be like that dude, Razor Ramon or Scott Hall. Big up to him, man. Yes, big up to Unrivaled, man. I keep on meaning to... I meant to try and get in touch with you a couple of days ago. But hopefully you're doing well, bro. Hopefully you're keeping well. Big up to Unrivaled, man. You leave the country in September and come back by April. Yeah, tell me about it, Alex. That'll be ideal. Or honestly, just moving full time. That'd be great. What fight are you looking forward to most this weekend? For me, it's Tim Tszyu versus Terrell Gausha, making his USA debut and fighting a solid contender. That's a good fight. It's a good test right now for Tim Tszyu. I think that's the ideal fight for him because Terrell Gausha, he's pretty versatile. He can look after himself. So that's a good test for Tim Tszyu. And, Terrell Gausha's pretty durable. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Martinez versus Warrington too. I mean, I don't like the way it's come about, but I am looking forward to the fight. I can't lie. Richard Riekpo, Dion Juma's a really good domestic fight at cruiserweight. Yeah, they're moving Tim well. Right fights at the right time. Ukraine became the first country to introduce the social credit application. Surprise, surprise. Say no more. Is this for UFC? Absolutely not, bro. We're talking boxing. I don't mind UFC now and again, but I'm a boxing man through and through. Joshua's got more holes than Swiss cheese. Usyk took pity on him last time. This time Usyk knocks him out. You could be right. You could be right. Because Usyk can get better as well. Usyk can still fight better than that. And if he does, God fucking hell. God help Anthony Joshua. Looks like Ryan will not be fighting at lightweight for much longer. Well, he's massive. He's like 5'10 and a half. He's a big dude for that weight class. So yeah, he's not going to be hanging around for long, boxing learner. He'll go up to 140 in the next 12, 18 months, no doubt about it. And he's done absolutely nothing so far. A lot of hype now for several years, and his best win is Luke Campbell. So I like Ryan Garcia in regards to watching him fight. I think he's got raw potential, but his head is not in the game. That's what it appears like anyway. So hopefully Ryan can sort his shit out and try to make the most of his potential. Joshua's going to become all holy and flee to Ukraine to help the cause. By the way, I like this new Anthony Joshua on Twitter talking a bit more shit. Somebody asked him if he smashed Amir Khan's wife, and he said, I'm paraphrasing, but after all the backlash, I wish I did. He said, no, I didn't, but after all the backlash, I wish I did. I like the heel Anthony Joshua. Oh, it's at 139, Garcia versus Tago. Okay. Leonardo Campos Vasquez, can North Macedonia pull off another upset against Portugal? Man, they beat fucking Italy. I couldn't believe it. Fair play to them. And also being an Englishman, still a little bit bitter about the Euros. So it's good to see Italy go out. Have you already started doing the rankings for your list that you were talking about in your earlier videos? I hope I'm not mixing you up with somebody. You might be mixing me up, bro. You might be mixing me up. I'm not a rankings type guy, quite frankly. I'm not a rankings type guy. I'll big up to Unrivaled, man. Riviera versus Adorno will be a fun fight. Yeah, that Adorno kid, he's a pretty durable dude, man. It always comes to fight. And Riviera, he's a nice boxer to watch, pleasing on the eye, but he's a little susceptible, you know? So yeah, that's a good fight. These PBC Showtime cards, they're usually pretty well matched, to be honest. Like from top to bottom, the regular Showtime cards, I always enjoy them. Ryan Garcia, Joe Goosen could gel really well, but Ryan Garcia isn't serious, is he? Never met him, so I take that into consideration. On the surface, bro, he doesn't appear to be serious. On the surface. But thank you to Unrivaled for the contribution, man. Much respect. Can't believe that Italy lost. Rumours are that Ryan Garcia couldn't make weight. Not surprised. Like I was saying, he's big. If you get arrested, don't get Jeffrey Pence as your lawyer. Just because Joshua added Usyk's former trainer, for me that means nothing. That was early on in Usyk's career, and I feel Usyk has gotten better since then. I agree, but psychologically, it could be interesting. You know, I like the move. You know, James Ali Bashir, Usyk aside, he knows his shit. He's been around a long time, so a different pair of eyes, I think, is always good for Joshua. I think he needs that right now, an experienced pair of eyes who's been around the heavyweight game for a long time. So I think that's a good move. I like James Ali Bashir. I think he always talks well, breaks down boxing well. He's got that old school vibe about him. I see all of the lightweights other than Tank and Loma moving up. I agree. Ryan's not going to be long. Devin Haney's got a couple fights left. Then he's going up. I agree, yeah. Because Tank, whatever you say, he is a lightweight. He's a lightweight. I know he's kind of fat outside of camp, but if he was in shape, he's a real lightweight. And Loma's a small lightweight. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, Tio's already gone up, exactly. Big up to West Cork. Lee Davis, I'm good, brother. I'm good. You know, just bullshit, you know, that we all have to deal with. But yeah, I'm doing okay. I can't complain. I'm still alive. It's been a sunny few days. What's not to like, man? What's not to like? Yeah, I'm picking Rivera as well. Conor Benn running from Avanesian, no surprise. Well, I've given up hope, Volta, in regards to that fight. Conor's fighting Christian Heerden next, which I'm disappointed in. He's been having those sort of opponents for a while now. You know, the durable trial horses who are past their best. He's fought a whole bunch of them guys now. You know, I understood when it was Samuel Vargas. I understood when it was Adrian Granados. Those fights made sense at the time, but I think it's time for a step up now. Doesn't even have to be Avanesian. I would take Michael McKinson. Perfectly fine. I'd accept that, man. I'm not asking Conor Benn to fight King Kong. Just somebody who's actually going to come to win with a bit of ambition, who's not shot. That's all I'm asking for. Not asking for anything crazy. Yeah, AJ, I wouldn't say Joshua has a glass chin. I don't think his chin is necessarily great. I'd say it's average at heavyweight, you know? Shit happens at heavyweight. If you get caught, chances are you're going to get hurt. But, you know, with Joshua, it's more so, I think it's his gas tank for a start. And when he gets hit, he doesn't respond well. He doesn't know how to react, you know? Kind of like Frank Bruno in a way. Like Frank Bruno always had this thing over his head that he had a bad chin. I don't think Frank Bruno's chin was bad. It was when he got hurt, he just couldn't deal with it. He couldn't clinch. He couldn't, you know, recover. It's one of those things. Yeah, Kambosos is a good size lightweight, always going to make 135 easily. Yeah, he's a decent size lightweight. Not too big, not too small. He's a real lightweight, again, in my opinion. Big up to LAC74. Lewis Ritson going to lose. That Balkan fella can crack. He can, but he's been around a long time, though, Volta, so he could be shot. He could be shot. I mean, it was a long time ago when he fought Ricky Burns, Zlakatichnin, whatever his name is. Who do you reckon is the best UK light heavyweight? Best or highest ranked? Right now, I would rank... I don't even know. Honestly, I think Callum Smith might beat these dudes. Whether it's Yard, Boatsi, I think Callum Smith might beat these dudes. If it's going to go head-to-head, yeah, and I had to pick head-to-head who's the best, I'm going to go Callum Smith. Who are you picking, Zach Parker or Andrade? I think the safe bet is Andrade. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what to make of Zach Parker. He's looked good at blowing out no-hopers. Seems to carry power, nice fundamentals, decent boxing skills, etc. But he's not fought anybody. I wouldn't read too much into the Darryl Williams fight. I felt he lost that fight clearly, but Zach Parker was injured after the second round. I think he dislocated his shoulder. So I wouldn't read too much into that fight. What Zach Parker did show in that fight was tremendous balls, but he was injured in that fight. I think he would have beaten Darryl Williams if he wasn't injured. But, I mean, it's hard to say with Zach Parker. He's just not really been tested all that much, apart from that Williams fight where he got injured. Anthony says, do you think if Josh Warrington ends up winning this fight against Kiko, he's going to deny Maurizio Lara his title fight because he's the mandatory next for the title? I can't see Warrington fighting Lara. Quite frankly, Anthony, I can't see that fight happening. I really can't see it happening. I think the IBF Mando right now is Lopez, who just beat, what's his name? Who's the guy who... He beat Isaac Lowe. I think that was an IBF eliminator. Yeah, I would take Florian Marku versus Conor Benn. Haney free fight offer to fight Kambosos ×2. Then Lomachenko think he takes it. He's also been offered to fight Lomachenko. I think he would take a Kambosos fight with a rematch clause, but to fight Lomachenko after that, I don't think he would. Again, I'm not a big Devin Haney fan, but could he make the weight for that long? I'm not so sure. I don't think he would take it. I'd like to be wrong. I'd like to be wrong. Big up to E-Machines. Who would you pick? Tim Tszyu or Tony Harrison if they fought? Right now, I think you've got to go with Tim Tszyu. Tony Harrison these days, not what... He's kind of struggling. Got knocked out by Jamal Charlo and drew his last fight to Bryant Perella, so he's not looking good, Tony Harrison. I'll take, in regards to recent form, I'm going to go Tim Tszyu. Maybe by late knockout. Callum Johnson is the best in my opinion. I'll tell you what, Lee. At one point in time, I think Callum Johnson could have very well knocked out bouts and Yard. But honestly, in his last fight, and even the fight before that, I felt he looked absolutely awful. I mean, he arguably lost to Server Umalayev in his last fight. And before that, he fought a no-mark, an unknown dude, and he got fucking rocked in that fight. So I think Callum Johnson now, I think he's seen better days, bro. I think Joe Smith would have gone through him like a doorway. I really do. Callum Johnson is a what-if, in my opinion, because he was a Commonwealth gold medalist, good amateur, but his career never got going. Injury problems, promotional problems, career just never got going. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. No way Eddie actually feeds Buatsi to Canelo. Of course he will, bro. It's a Canelo payday. Yeah, he will. Canelo's the dude, man. He'll sacrifice Buatsi. Buatsi's not a big ticket seller. He's not a big ticket seller. He's not a big draw. He would sacrifice Buatsi. In my mind, he would. If Stevenson wins his fight, do you think he moves up to 135? What would be left to do at 135? Let's say he beats Valdez. I forget, man. Who else is at 135? My memory is terrible these days, guys. I used to know all of this shit off top. But my head is gone. I mean, listen, Rakhimov is going to fight for Agawa's with the zone. I'll be honest, there wouldn't be much for him to do. If he could fight Rakhimov or Agawa, yeah, I'd like to see him stay at 130. But I think he might go to 135, Anthony. I think he might go to 135. He's in pole position, LAC74. He's in pole position, but time will tell. Time will tell. Let's open a bottle of sparkling water. Highland Spring sparkling water. Only the quality stuff around here. Yard is best light heavyweight in the UK. He could very well be. These guys need to fight each other. West Cork, he's got Buatsi as number one. It's up in the air right now. It's up in the air, in my opinion. And I do like that fight with Craig Richards, by the way. I think it's a good fight. Zach Parker's a quality body puncher. Yeah, he looks to be. Lopez. He's Warrington's Mando. I think, and you could be right out, Andre. Lopez has a chance. He's a big dude, throws a lot of punches, hits hard. You know, kind of a typical Mexican, I guess you would say. Whatever that means. Take into consideration that Zach Parker is literally a light heavyweight, will weigh 180 on fight night. Andrade's 34 years old and natural middleweight. I think Parker would KO him. Size matters. You could be right, but Andrade's a tall, rangy dude. He's a tall, rangy dude. He's not small. I guarantee you he won't look small against Zach Parker. He won't look small. He cuts a lot of weight, Andrade. He cuts a lot of weight. Yeah, that's it. Bernardo Lopez. Yeah, he's Mando. Oh, that'd be a great fight, though. Lopez versus Lara. That's carnage. That's carnage. I wouldn't know who to pick. That is just going to be a dogfight. Who can outlast the other? Do you think AJ is hoping that Usyk stays in Ukraine? I don't think so, man. Listen, say what you want about Joshua. I think he wants to get those belts back. Genuinely, I think he wants to get those belts back, and he should do. Riakporhe to get the KO tonight. Hang on, is that tonight? I thought it was tomorrow. I'm sure that's tomorrow, bro. I'm sure that's tomorrow. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Troy Williamson's fighting tonight. And fucking Lewis Ritzen's fighting tonight. Didn't even know that. I thought that was tomorrow as well. Yeah, Riakporhe fights tomorrow. But yeah, I've got Riakporhe come from behind knockout against Dion Juma. What guys can you see at 120? So what guys at 126 can you see skipping 130 and going all the way to 135? Honestly, the only person who I think could do it or might do it or might be tempted to do it would maybe be Navarrete. Maybe. Let's have a look at Feather. Yeah, Navarrete, he could do it. He's quite a big dude. Apart from that, I mean, you got Mark Magsayo. Leo Santa Cruz could go back up there. Who knows? But I would say Navarrete is the most obvious choice. I don't think he'll do it though, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Yeah, he's on his way. Yeah, he's going to train to fight Joshua, leaving Ukraine. Exactly, Andrade's a big dude. Yeah, exactly, Alex. He's a big dude. You know, Manny Pacquiao's son is fighting Alex Wasabi. I've got no idea who that Alex Wasabi guy is, by the way. Fundora versus Lubin. I've got Fundora by knockout. I think Lubin is a better boxer, but Lubin has, number one, he's got a glass chin. And Fundora is so much bigger. I think you'll see Fundora losing the early rounds. He'll apply pressure, and eventually he'll just break Erickson Lubin. That's what I see happening. Good fight, though. Good fight. Fundora is just a fucking just a big dude, man. Joe Law's lost again. Ah, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Who did he lose to? I can't believe I missed Joe Law's getting his shit pushed in, bro. Oh, he lost. Did he lose to a guy with a 4-27 record? I am that same dude. Jonah. Fuck's sake. If this fight happens, which I don't think it will, who do you think wins, Navarrete or Lara? I would say Navarrete. The thing is, though, those two guys are friends. I think they work in the same gym. So those two guys are friends, but I can imagine what sort of fight that would be. That would be pure violence. I like both guys, man. I got a lot of time for Navarrete. Love his style of fighting. And Lara, again, man, what's not to like? What's not to like? Do you think the jokers like AKA Skins are stopping Joshua from reaching his full potential? I think Joshua, a lot of his problem is he's inside his own head. I think he overanalyzes a lot of things. He strikes me as that character, a guy who I would say procrastinates a little bit, overthinking things. That's what I think when it comes to Joshua. I think he's an overthinker. And you can overthink things at times. Heavyweight Thomas Carte should add Joe Calzaghe to his team. Not sure about Calzaghe as like a trainer. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. But Thomas Carte, I mean, he's interesting. We'll see how he goes. Yeah, I was saying earlier, Joe, I think that's a really good addition. James Ali Bashir, of course, he's actually worked with Usyk for number one. But James Ali Bashir has been around for decades. He's worked with top heavyweights. He knows the game inside out, James Ali Bashir. So I think that's a great addition to Joshua's team. As long as Joshua listens, and as long as James Ali Bashir can have his moment with Joshua to try and teach him shit. But on the surface, James Ali Bashir going into camp, I think it's only a good thing. Juma easy win tomorrow. I think Juma's going to be winning the fight, then he gets caught. Yeah, Troy Williamson, he'll knock out Mason Cartwright, Declan. I like Troy Williamson, by the way. Canelo. I'd rather fight Canelo. Just because he's smaller. They'll both fuck me up, but I'd rather fight Canelo. I've never seen Panya Pradarbsi fight before. I've seen Meniofen fight, but I've never seen the other dude. So I'm just going to say Meniofen. Blue Collar Sports, I said this multiple times, it's not natural for a big guy like Sebastian to be bearing down on you instead of using his reach. And I think that's what's going to cause Lubin to hesitate. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Fundora, man, that guy is a fucking circus act. That guy is a circus act. I don't think he's that good. That's the thing. I don't think he's that great. But he's just so big. He's just so big. And that's going to cause most guys problems. I don't think he's that good, though. He's all right. I'm not saying he can't fight, but he's not great. Yeah, I read the last one, a dear pennant. Mark Magsayo against Warrington. Magsayo could easily get outworked against Warrington, but he could knock out Warrington. I would probably say Warrington on points, but Magsayo's got a good shot. Big up to Punch Smollett. Lost to a random Polish fella. Mark, who would have destroyed Laws, I agree. Got to get back to work. Have a good weekend, mate. Thank you, bro. You too. And yeah, well, hopefully work goes okay. Oh, Joe Laws is an idiot, man. Big up to Rem. Big up to Kiko. Salute to Mr. Burns. Excellent. Big up to Mr. Burns. Kiko Martinez gas tank will not be there anymore. Can see him going for it early as well, knowing that could be his last payday. Yeah, I agree. I think Kiko's got to go for it early. I think he's got to go for it early. Knockout in the first 5-6 rounds. If he can't get Josh Warrington out of there early, I think he's fucked. It'll be a good test for Ivanov, dear pennants. Hope Space Raider loses. So do I, I'm not going to lie. Are you a fan of Crazy Blondes? Sorry, I had to. I know the reference. You're big up to yourself, man. Big up to yourself. The latest video on the other channel is fucking like 40 odd minutes long. Took me fucking ages. If Kiko Martinez, he'll get offered the kid Galahad or Zelfa Barrett rematch at 130. You could be right. You could be right. The one last payday kind of thing. 126. Leo Santa Cruz, Navarrete, Vendado Lopez, Lara, Warrington, Mark Magsayo, Lee Wood, Conlon and Russell. Too many fights to be made. Some great fights to be made. Some great fights to be made. Boxing learner. If I could make one out of a sky, I would make Navarrete versus Lara. I'd love to see that. Warrington getting put in a coma. I don't think he will, man. Yeah, Lewis Ritson is fighting Dejan Zlakatichin tonight. Who would you like to see Josh Taylor fight for his first fight at welterweight? I'd like to see him take an easy fight to start off with. Maybe Kell Brook, laugh out loud. Honestly, I don't want to see Kell Brook at 147. If I was if I was Josh Taylor, I'd be looking at somebody like Josecito Lopez. Somebody along those lines. A credible dude, but beatable. Somebody who can go a few rounds and test you. I think Ray Vargas has a chance, Punch, but he's been out a long time, and did he have a motorcycle crash? He was out a long time. I think he broke his leg. So this is a step up. He had his comeback fight. But he could definitely outpoint Mark Magsayo. It's a competitive fight. I wouldn't be surprised, Punch. Yeah, and Vargas, yeah. Big Ray Vargas. Hemi Ahio versus Carlos Takam. That would be a great fight because both guys are smaller heavyweights, both aggressive. So that would be a great fight. Might be a bit too early for Hemi though. I don't really rate Hemi. He's fun, but I don't rate him. Did you ever see the Daniel Pearl video? I've heard of it, but I don't know. I've seen so much shit now, bro. I don't know. I'm not sure whether I've seen it. I don't think I have. I don't think I have because people have asked me to do it, and I'm sure I would have remembered it, but I don't think I've watched it. Buatsi 1-16 favourite to beat Richards. Am I missing something here? It's going to be rigged as fuck. I think Buatsi is rightfully favourite, but Craig Richards is dangerous. He's spindly, he's awkward, he's got underrated power, he's experienced, he's got a good chin. Richards can handle himself. I don't mind that fight. I quite like that fight. I can't lie. I quite like that fight. Again, I would have rather have seen Vlasov, but you know, I think with Maxime Vlasov, they realised that fight was a bit too early, and they pulled out. You know, because if it was purely an injury, surely it would have been rescheduled. But it appears they got cold feet in regards to that fight, which, you know, is a bit disappointing, but it's not like he's fighting a bum. Like, Richards is a good fighter, so I like the fight. Yeah, you Albanians, man, you really support each other. Big up to the Albanians. And you guys make for a great fucking atmosphere as well. Big up to the Albanian Mandem. I knew an Albanian once in Luton, and that guy was tough as fuck, man. Tough as fuck. Yeah, Hooker would be a good fight for Taylor. Gloves up boxing. Jalalov does have good potential. He's got really good skills, lovely footwork for a guy of 6'7", southpaw, crunching power, good distance control. The only thing with Jalalov I'm not convinced about is his gas tank and his chin. We shall see. What's going on here? Fuck, pressed the wrong fucking thing. One second. You know, Mark who went to jail for selling coke. Not surprised. That guy really is about it. I'm convinced. I was saying that a long time ago. I'm convinced that guy's about it. You know, like Alan Babbitt, he's kind of like you can tell that guy's just a gimmick. Whereas Florian Marku, man, that guy, he's a mean fucking dude, man. He'll throw down. He'll absolutely throw down. This is where I feel like Sebastian Fundora would benefit from having a trainer like Ronnie Shields or Virgil Hunter, a trainer who can teach him how to use his reach. Yeah, it's similar to Paul Williams, Anthony. It's similar to Paul Williams. He was a huge welterweight. What was he, like 6'2", 6'3", something like that? And he never used his fucking reach. He would just get on top of you, work you, fight on the inside and try and outland you kind of thing when he had the height and reach. I guess it's what's comfortable for Sebastian Fundora. If he feels comfortable doing that, then maybe he might not be as effective if you change him. But I agree, though, he could do with a nice jab being implemented to his game. Erislandy Lara versus Eubank Jr. I'd love to see it, Volta, but Eubank would never take that fight. He would never take that fight. I'd love to see it, though. Blair Cobbs is honestly such an entertaining character. Imagine a build-up between him and Conor Benn. Their personalities would gel perfectly. See, that would have been a really good opponent for Conor Benn. a guy with ambition who was unbeaten, a talker. That shit would have made sense. That shit would have made sense, but you can't really do it now. I mean, Blair would have to come back with a couple of victories. Never you mind, Joe. Never you mind. I think Jalalov would beat him at their pennant. Victor Faust in his last fight, man, took a lot of shit, got dropped as well. I agree, Larry. I agree. Don't get me wrong. Richards, in my opinion, acquitted himself really well. Much better than I thought he would do. But I felt he lost that fight like 9-3, honestly. I felt he lost that fight clearly. A couple of those scorecards were awful. And yeah, the narrative that he was a couple of rounds away from beating Bivol is a little bit dishonest. Yes, on the scorecards he was, but those scorecards were bullshit. Blue cheese. Yeah, Jesse Rodriguez is the future of the lower weight classes, in my opinion. And he's got the potential to unify those divisions, whether it's light fly, super fly, or flyweight, whatever. He can beat many of those guys right now. If I was managing him, I would take the Rungvisai fight. I wouldn't be bothered about going back down to light flyweight. I wouldn't be bothered about light flyweight. Flyweight, maybe, if you get a good fight, you like Sonny Edwards, for example. But honestly, is there any reason for him to go down? I'd stay at super flyweight. I'd fight Rungvisai next, and then I'll see what's out there, you know? Maybe Ioka. Maybe the Argentinian dude, Martinez, who recently beat Ancajas. That could be a good fight for him. Not sure about Kid Galahad. Alex Black, Bivol versus Richards was 11-1. I felt it was a clear win for Bivol. PED banned Jarrell Miller and Jean Pascal ready for boxing returns. I hope they come back, bro. Again, I'm not going to call for any fighter to be banned from the sport when drug testing standards and punishments for failing tests, the standards are not universal in boxing. One thing's illegal in one state, it's legal in the next. You know, one thing's legal in one country, it's illegal in the next. I mean, the whole standards for drug testing across the board, none of it meshes together. It's inconsistent as fuck. So until boxing sort that shit out, I'm not going to call for any fighter to be banned from boxing just because they juiced. Certain fighters can get away with a lot more than others. You know, certain fighters get a slap on the wrist, other guys get vilified. Is what it is. Yeah, man, I'm all for Florian Marku stories. Dempsey McKean versus Dave Allen is being talked about. Fucking hell. Again, I don't rate Dempsey McKean, but he'll beat the dog shit out of Dave Allen. He'll beat the dog shit out of Dave Allen. What's up to Sadiq Boxing? If that's the way you saw it, bro, it is what it is, man. I felt Bivol won that fight quite clearly, but again, I agree in regards to Richards. He carried himself well in that fight. He didn't exactly look useless, you know. He looked pretty decent in spots. But I do like Richards, yeah. I mean, I like Buatsi, man. I like Buatsi. Decent performance by Sonny Edwards. He was getting caught to the body a bit too much for my liking, but a good performance. You know, good 12 rounds good 12 rounds under the belt. Hatman said he sees darkness in Kid Galahad's eyes. He's got a weird aura, Kid Galahad. There's no doubt about it. He's got a weird aura. I'm not going to accuse him of anything, but I would keep a close eye on him. Put it that way. I'd keep a close eye on him. He might be a very nice guy. He might be a very nice guy, but something about that guy gives you the EBGBs kind of thing. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Thoughts on Murodjon Akhmadaliev, and do you think he beats Fulton? Great fighter, unified champion in 7 fights? Very good fighter, Murodjon Akhmadaliev. Can he beat Fulton? Yes, but can he lose that fight? Absolutely. I think if that goes to the points, if it goes to points, I think Fulton outworks him. But Fulton, I've seen Fulton get hurt. You know, he got hurt by Brandon Figueroa on a few occasions. So I think, you know, Akhmadaliev with his timing, with his power, he can knock out Fulton. I think that's 50-50. Either Fulton gets knocked out or Fulton wins on points. That's how I see that fight, 50-50. I've got a lot of time for both Fulton and Akhmadaliev. I like both guys. Jared Anderson versus Muslim Gadzi Magomedov would be a good fight. I think Magomedov is... I'm not even going to try and say that second name properly. Gadzi Magomedov. He's at cruiserweight right now, but he's a good prospect. Yeah, I agree. I think Bivol is a very live underdog. Do you think Tank will re-sign with Floyd after the Rolly fight? I hope not, to be honest. I hope not as well. I hope he goes somewhere else where he can get these big fights. You know, see what he's like not being under the claws of Floyd Mayweather. Like maybe this guy's willing to fight anybody, but he's just being stifled. That could be the case. That could be the case. So I'd like to see Tank move on and see what he does. Because what's happening right now is not really satisfactory in regards to his career. He's not developing a resume or a legacy. He's not really giving us fights we truly care about. So yeah, I want to see him go. I want to see him go somewhere else. Whether it's Top Rank, DAZN, whatever. Not interested in that fight. Kid Galahad is from the Gulf, laugh out loud, most ruthless guys in the Middle East. Isn't he from Yemen originally? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But he lives boxing, I know that much. He lives in the gym, Kid Galahad. And he's a good fighter. He is a good fighter, Kid Galahad. Should David Price return? I mean, I'd love to see it, bro. Just because of the entertainment. I'd love to see it. But I can't see him returning, bro. Yeah, negative energy, I think. Yeah, negative energy in regards to Kid Galahad. If Bam beats Rungvisai, would you say he's ready for Roman Gonzalez at 115? Or do you think he needs to fight someone else before Roman? I mean, listen, man. For me personally, you know how those lighter weights get down. When the fight presents itself, you have to take it. You know, these guys conduct themselves like gangsters, so I'd expect Jesse Rodriguez to do the same thing. If it presents itself, why not? Why not? And another fight I'd love to see for Jesse Rodriguez would be Ricardo Sandoval versus Jesse Rodriguez. Like, Sandoval is very good in my opinion. I think he's very good. But he's at flyweight right now. Don't care what people say. If Canelo stops Bivol, I'm going to be suspect about that fight. Bivol's taken bangs off Joe Smith and Salamov and has never even been wobbled. He got semi-wobbled. He got semi-wobbled in the Joe Smith fight, but it was at the bell. I think that was round 10, maybe. Absolutely, David Price's must-watch TV. Absolutely. Oh, Qatar. He's from Qatar. It was Prince Nazim who was from Yemen, I think. I think it was Prince Nazim from Yemen. Yeah, he was from Yemen, I'm sure. Qatar originally, though, yeah. Yeah, shout out to David Price, though, was never in a boring fight. Facts. In terms of Muslim fighters from Arabic countries that were born there, I know that most of them end up fighting out of England, why and not their home countries. Why is that? I guess it's just because it's like politically unstable in many regions where these guys come from, so they have to move on to other locations to try and build a fan base. You know, same with like Russian fighters going to America, or there's no real scene out there. The money's not out there. Well, I say that. Abu Dhabi now is hosting fights, Dubai, etc. They are starting to host fights, and I think that's good for that region. Actually, I think that's good for that region. I think you'll see more talent come up because these guys can fight more locally. And that is good for boxing. I'm all for like a global boxing scene, not just UK, not just USA, but I'm all for a global boxing scene. So hopefully these cards in Dubai, etc., UAE, hopefully these cards mean more talent from that region. Because I'm sure these guys come from hard places, and that breeds fucking tough fighters. Big up to Ian Ward. Yeah, Danny Williams is still fighting. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. He's like 48 now. Must be 48 years old, 47, 48. Daniel Dubois versus Manuel Char next. Makes sense for the WBA position. Yeah, but Daniel is fighting Trevor Bryan. Don King won for purse bid. Great question. Jared Anderson he's not fighting on the undercard anymore. That's a very good question. We're less than a month away now, and there's no undercard being announced. Galahad ain't ruthless. He's been Yemen once. Dude's more of a fillet of fish in Sheffield. Ebony Bridges sucked off Eddie Hearn for a world title. I'll be honest, yeah. Listen, I'm not saying I wouldn't, because I would. Absolutely. But I don't see the hype with Ebony Bridges in regards to how she looks. I mean, listen, she's all right. But like, I think that Sky Nicholson's much more attractive. Much more attractive. Exactly, yeah. The Middle East outside of UAE and Saudi is very poor. Yeah, but it's good though. It's good that those regions, like like UAE and etc. It's nice that there are boxing events being hosted out there now. So hopefully there's a trickle down effect, and you see a bit more talent come from that region. That'll be good to see. Yeah, respect for typing up that name. Facts. Gadzi Magomedov. I don't think Dillian will end up fighting Fury. I can see a pullout or an excuse. What do you think? Anything is possible. Anything is possible in boxing, especially in regards to that situation. I'll believe it when those two guys are in the ring. That's all I'll say. Sergio Martinez fought in January, picked up a win. He did, yeah. He beat who did he beat? Was it Brian Rose? No, Michael McGowan. Qatar is rich in cities. The desert is poor as like 2 people every 100 miles. Yep. I wouldn't mind going to like Dubai though. I'd like to check it out. I'll be honest. I'd like to check it out. Or Qatar, somewhere like that. I'd like to check it out. I like the sun, but I think the sun might do me in as well, actually. Because that's a different level. Senicia Estrada. Is that the one who Taylor's fighting? I'm not a fan of Senicia Estrada, Rem. Did you see Did you see Frank Warren on Talksport arguing with a guy claiming to be Dillian's lawyer? The guy sounded like he hadn't even seen the contract he advised Dillian to sign. I've not seen it, but I want to see it. I want to see it. Boom. Okay. I need to see that shit, year older. Blah, blah, blah. Have they uploaded it on YouTube? That's the question. Frank Warren's a G-man. I don't care what anyone says. That guy's hilarious. Frank Warren. Big Frank. Oh, it's here, yeah. Explosive. Frank Warren and Jeffrey Benn's clash over Fury White contract. Sick. I'll watch that in a bit. Sky is cute, but Bridges' body is hot. But like, that's the thing though. Like, To me, there's a difference between attractive and, you know, somewhat hot. To me, there's a difference. Like, I think Sky Nicholson is attractive, like a really good looking girl. Even without makeup, she's a good looking girl. But like Ebony Bridges, it's a lot of it is what's the word? Deceiving, you know, makeup, fake tits, etc., etc. A lot of it is, yeah. By the way, this new channel, I think he's new, and I think you told me about him, your old dar. Alba Boxing is fucking hilarious. He's got a great channel. Alba Boxing, check him out. He's got a great fucking channel. Yeah, she's rat shit. Ebony Bridges. That's a good descriptor. Rat shit. Like you wouldn't want to take you wouldn't want to take Ebony Bridges back to your mum, meet your mum, would you? Do you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, Sky Nicholson, you know. Muslim Gadzi Magomedov should be in the heavyweight division. He's too big for the cruiserweight division. I mean, why not? I mean, there's a lot of big dudes. Tishchenko, Lawrence Okoli. He's massive. I mean, he's not the only one. I would stay at cruiserweight for a while there. I'd stay at cruiserweight, try and pick up a title, then go up. Yeah, Sky is the type of woman that you would wife, but Ebony would just be a one-night stand. Exactly. Exactly. That's how I see it. You know, like shag, marry, avoid. Marry Sky Nicholson, shag Ebony Bridges, avoid Shannon Courtney, for example. There you go. What happened to Ajit Caballel? No idea. After the Chisora win, his career's gone nowhere. But what I read in regards to Caballel, I read he's very wealthy in Germany. Like he's got a lot of businesses, and essentially he doesn't need boxing. Ajit Caballel. That's what I've read. That's what I've read. Apparently he's very wealthy and makes his money outside of boxing. So I guess boxing is more like a side gig for him. I'm not sure where I read that, but I definitely read it. Ebony Bridges is like Paige Van Zandt, all makeup with a fake body. I still prefer Paige Van Zandt over Ebony Bridges, though, but I agree. I agree. Like, there's something about Sky Nicholson. Like most female boxers who are somewhat attractive, they get by on like the slag aura kind of thing. But like Sky Nicholson is not that. She's just good looking. What's this stream turning into? Fucking a simp session for fucking Sky Nicholson. I'm letting myself down. Blue Collar, I've always wondered, are the titles in each division actually gold, or are they just gold plated over silver? That's a very good question, Anthony. That's a very good question. I'd assume they're real. Well, to be honest, they could be gold plated. Who the fuck knows? I'm letting it be known that I'm backing AJ in the Usyk rematch. Don't know the method of victory, but I think he'll win. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion. And people will say, "Oh, didn't you watch the first fight?" Bloody, bloody, blah. But sometimes when it comes to boxing, you see a technical breakdown. You can see a fight going a certain way, but sometimes gut feeling tells you to pick the other guy. I'm very much like that. Shannon KFC Courtney, yeah. She's not even KFC level, bro, Mr. Relax. She's fucking like a shoddy Burger King, you know, on some industrial estate in like Scarborough. That's Shannon Courtney, bro. I'm a nasty fucking cunt, ain't I? Sadiq's got AJ. Lee Davis is back in AJ. I think Eddie Hearn will fix the fight. Yeah, he was finding the uppercut to the body, Sadiq, in the middle rounds. I think it was the right uppercut to the body, and he was moving Usyk with it. Usyk kind of got a little bit flustered in the middle rounds, and then Joshua abandoned it. The thing is with Joshua, everything comes off that jab with Anthony Joshua. And in that first fight, Alexander Usyk completely nullified that jab with lead hand control, which resulted in Joshua being unable to really land any power shots of consequence because he wasn't getting his jab off, so he couldn't set up the power shots. If I was working with Joshua, I'd be obviously, training him his regular style, but he needs to know how to throw power punches, lead with power punches, not off the jab all the time. He needs to lead with power shots occasionally, in particular the lead left hook. But yeah, Joshua needs to spice things up in this fight, man. He needs to spice things up. Yeah, I'm going Usyk again. Rafael's got Usyk again. One-sided fight. Can't believe Law's lost to a 4-28 guy. Hilarious. I've heard there's some American consortium looking at Chelsea right now. How true that is? I mean, there's going to be a lot of interested buyers in Chelsea because the price for Chelsea right now is not what Abramovich would have got for it if he was, still okay and still in charge. But obviously, given the scenario, that club is going to go for a cut price, so there's going to be a lot of interested buyers in Chelsea. A lot. And not only are they a really good club who have a great team and a big fan base, look at the real estate, look at the location. Chelsea is a fucking expensive part of London. Very expensive, man. It's not even just for club, it's for location you're paying for as well. Yeah, speak up to Mad Chad. Salute to Mad Chad every time. Every time. Hearn will get Howard Foster as a ref. Christ. AJ needs Floyd in his corner. Oh, I think he's the last person. AJ needs a left hook, really. That right hand won't land off a jab like he has done previously. Usyk's footwork is too much for that, yep. And the lead hand control, man, of Usyk completely nullified Joshua's lead hand in that fight. How would have Joshua approach it? And I said this prior to the first fight. I'd have him approach it. You know how he fought Povetkin, where he was inching forwards, applying pressure with a low lead hand, jabbing from the waist. I would have him apply pressure in that stance, try to vary the jab, fire it quickly from the waist, not with power, just flick it, and then with power occasionally. I'd have him fight with a low lead hand, side on profile, applying pressure, and on top of that, I'd try and have him lead with certain power shots, the right uppercut, the left hook, etc. He needs to mix things up in this fight. What he did in that first fight, the straight up and down boxer puncher, is not going to work. Unless he lands like a Hail Mary shot, it's not going to work. Crystal Palace fan here. You guys are doing well, man. Patrick Vieira is getting you guys playing some good stuff. I wasn't convinced by Vieira, but he's doing really well. He was a tremendous player, though, Patrick Vieira. Christ. Great player. He was my favourite player outside of Manchester United back in the day, Patrick Vieira. I used to love watching him play. Usyk by knockout because I still think AJ was hesitating in that first fight with Alexander after he got knocked down twice by Andy Ruiz. I agree. A knockout is definitely possible. AJ needs a miracle. Yeah, he does. I believe in miracles. Yeah, AJ needs to be getting that tune on repeat. Do you think Fury beats either Usyk or Joshua? Not sure, man. I do sometimes wonder, is this returning Fury a mirage? Because we've not seen it. We've not seen him fight anybody apart from Wilder. And in the third fight, he nearly got knocked out. That's the first fight he nearly got knocked out. He got fucking buzzed by Otto Wallin. Fury's a great boxer, but he's not. He's not unbeatable. Like, people act like Tyson Fury is some kind of like invincible man. I'm not sure, bro. I'd make him favourite over Joshua. Usyk, though? I might go Usyk. He just needs to pin him down, give him no room, otherwise he hasn't got a chance. You mean go gung-ho? He could do that. He could do that and try and rough him up. But if he can't get him out of there early, he's going to gas badly, Joshua. That's a high-risk strategy. It might work. Sometimes you got to roll the dice. It might work, but I would have him still be somewhat methodical, but totally change his approach, change his stance, change the lead hand positioning. I'd fire that from low. I'd fire that jab from low, from the hip, both body and head. Try to walk Usyk down behind that, try to maintain range and try and walk Usyk down like that and lead with power shots. But who knows? What do I know? Hooking off a jab as well for Joshua is another thing. Even if it's not hard hooks, try to disrupt Usyk's lead hand control. Give him something to think about. Yeah, in the middle rounds, AJ had success. Usyk had stopped tapping AJ's lead hand so much before AJ gassed. Lifelong Newcastle fan, by the way, rinsing the world on shitty money. Listen, man, people are getting upset about Newcastle being taken over by Saudis. It is what it is, man. You guys deserve your time. Big club, been through some shit times, man. So we'll see. I mean, you've got to spend that money wisely. That's the first thing. But you've got all of the ingredients there now. You've got a big stadium, a big fan base, all the money in the world. I mean, I'll be very interested to see what Newcastle do this window. I like that Bruno Guimaraes guy. He looks very good. I like him. See, it pains me when you guys get that guy Guimaraes for like 35 million. United need a midfielder. We do. I mean, he would have been perfect. In my opinion, Fury beats AJ, Usyk beats Fury, but more so McDonald's beats Fury. I get what you're saying, Colin. Big up the Boxing Source, by the way. Salute to Boxing Source. I think AJ and Usyk beat Fury. Styles make fights. You could be right. I think Joshua's got a chance against Fury, as much as people don't want to hear it. I think he does, but I've got to go Fury right now. Only way AJ wins this fight is if there's going to be some seriously wacky scorecards. Usyk is dominating the fight, then the judges are going to favour AJ. I know what you're saying. But I think AJ's got a puncher's chance still. Yeah, Roy Keane. Roy Keane versus Vieira, man. Those were like box office fights. Amazing, man. Amazing. Great players. Smash the like button. Facts. Smash that like button. I wouldn't go that far, Ralph. Fury is beatable. He's a very good fighter. All of the physical attributes in the world. He's big, he's tall, he's rangy, he can box, he can fight. We get it. He's a very good fighter. Excellent heavyweight. But he's beatable. Just ask John McDermott. I know that's a long time ago, but you get my point, man. He's had fights where he's been struggling. He's been dropped multiple times. He's beatable. I don't feel that Fury can stick and move like he used to, hence the change in style. All of those years abusing the body with poor lifestyle choices are starting to catch up to him. I agree, and I was saying this in my Dillian White video. I'm picking Fury to beat Dillian White. However, I don't think this new style is necessarily by choice. I think it's the style Tyson Fury has to fight in now. Due to what you said, I don't think he's got the legs he once did. I don't think he's got the reactions he once did. I don't think he can box like that anymore. So now he's utilizing that size and being more aggressive. But is that going to work against everybody in the heavyweight division? I don't think it will. Listen, a Tyson Fury who's boxing like the one in the Klitschko fight, like the one in the second Chisora fight, he would play with Dillian White. Dillian White wouldn't win a round, and Dillian White probably gets stopped. Easy fight for Tyson Fury. But this Tyson Fury who's coming forwards, getting caught, against a guy like Dillian White who can fight on the mid-range, he can fight a bit on the inside. It's a more dangerous fight now than it would have been a few years ago. I'll try. That's what I'm trying to say. A boxer Fury boxes White's head off. But the fighter Fury, there's a bit of risk there. I'm still picking Fury. Don't get it twisted. I'm picking Fury. But I think it's a more dangerous fight now. No, I've been told about it, but I've not seen it yet. I need to watch it. I need to watch it. I could listen to it in the background, I guess. I'm listening to it in the background. Good fight. I've got Maxi Hughes on points. Ryan Walsh is a decent boxer puncher at domestic level, but I've got Maxi Hughes. I think Fury beats Joshua fairly easily. Usyk is a different proposition, though. If Fury is favoured politically, then he can use foul tactics. I think he could maul Usyk and stop him late. Yeah, exactly. AJ needs Sims again. He was a fighter. Now he wants to be Lewis. Yeah, I mean, Joshua at his very best was a risk-taking, aggressive boxer puncher. That's when Joshua was at his best, in my opinion. Yeah, Lewis Ritson tonight, Warlock. Lewis Ritson. White doesn't have a chance. I mean, again, I'm picking Tyson Fury. And he's rightfully a big favourite. But I wouldn't go as far as saying he doesn't have a chance. I think there have been bigger upsets in the heavyweight division than Dillian White knocking out Tyson Fury. I'll frame it like that. If Tyson Fury got knocked out by Dillian White, is it as big an upset as Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson? No. McCall knocking out Lewis? No. Reichman knocking out Lewis? No. Purity knocking out Vlad? No. It's not on that level. Michael Bent knocking out Tommy Morrison? No. It's not on that level. There have been many bigger upsets than Dillian White beating Fury, potentially beating Fury. In my opinion. Jake Paul announcing his next fight. Leaks say it's Anderson Silva. I actually quite like the Anderson Silva fight. I think that's a good fight. I'll watch that. I'll actually watch it. How about that? Dillian's lawyer is a bad prick. You'll see. I'm trying to listen to it in the background, but I can't multitask. Yeah, Fury's much bigger, exactly. That's the thing, Mr. Burns. He is much bigger. Absolutely. And he's got that playing in his favour against Dillian White. If he can maul Dillian White, lean on him, gas him out, yeah, he could stop Dillian. But he could still walk into something. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Jake Paul, Rem. I don't blame him. If I could do it, I'd do it. Yeah, go and get your money, Jake Paul, man. Fair play to him. Dun, 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 dun. Anderson will batter him. He's a good boxer that is coming from MMA, from an MMA hater. Yeah, he can box a bit. Anderson Silva. Yeah, he's one of those guys. Yeah, if he took up boxing young, I think Anderson Silva could have been decent in boxing. He could have been decent. He kind of has that Sergio Martinez type of style, hands down, reflexes, etc. Honestly, bro, I don't think Wallin is that good. I think Tyson Fury flattered him. Honestly, I think Fury's performance flattered Otto Wallin. Like Otto Wallin against Kamil Sakalovsky was dreadful. He looked awful, absolutely awful. I'm not sure how good Otto Wallin is, quite frankly. I think he's a good European level heavyweight. Nothing more, nothing less. O'Hara Davis is the biggest prick in boxing. I'm not sure about that. I don't think he is. He's a bit of a troll, but I don't think he's a. I wouldn't go that far. There's worse than O'Hara Davis. You're naturally talented guy, Silver. Bet he takes a mad free kick. Yeah, he's one of those guys, man. He could turn his hand to anything and do well at it. Just one of those guys. I'd agree, Rem. I was picking Dillian White on point. I think I actually picked Dillian on points. I think I did a prediction for it, but I definitely picked Dillian White. Yeah, I've met O'Hara Davis, and he was all right. He's all right. I think what it is with O'Hara Davis, he just tries to be relevant and he says certain things. You know, it is what it is. But I don't. I think he's harmless. I think he's harmless. I'll tell you who's getting a lot of shit on social media with his tweets. Sonny Edwards. I find fucking Sonny Edwards hilarious, man. That guy's hilarious. I'm an O'Hara fan. Dillian White is only a left hook, doesn't have much else. I agree pretty much, Lee. I agree. Could John McDermott hang with the heavyweights of today? Not really, in my opinion. Not really. He'd beat like a Dave Allen. He'd beat Dave Allen. Deadbeats troll O'Hara, kind of roll up yellow fingers, cheap vodka brigade. I've met O'Hara too. He was great. Frank's going in on this dude, man. Jared Anderson versus Daniel Dubois, future fight. Who have you got? Well, if it's in the future, it's hard to say because, you know, we don't know how both guys are going to develop. Both guys are still very young. But I think Jared is more naturally talented, but he needs a bit more time. I wouldn't like to make a call on that fight at all right now, to be honest with you. I'd love to see it, though. What are your thoughts on Probellum Boxing and New Debella Promotions signing a streaming deal with Discovery Plus and Eurosport? It's great. I'm glad to see more competitors. Eurosport, though, I'm not sure what their subscriber base is like, but it's good to see more boxing. It's good to see more boxing. This is a very good point. Excellent point. It's never a good idea to rate a fighter when his best performance comes from a loss. And people forget, while Wallin looked good in that fight, Fury still beat him quite widely. Very good point. Because that is what we're doing, really. We're basing Wallin off a loss, right? He's got a couple of, he beat Brazil, he beat Adrian Granat. I think he's a European level dude. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't think he'll beat anybody in the top 10, Otto Wallin. Maybe this version of Luis Ortiz. Oh, he said all Albanians are car washers and got scared because some Albanian got his IP address. Again, I don't think O'Hara really means much by it. I just think he's trolling, I just think he's trolling. Yeah, Tom Little always comes across quite good. Oh, who should Chisora fight next? I mean, they was talking about a Luis Ortiz fight. I'd like to see that. Luis Ortiz versus Chisora. Very, very good fight. I'd watch it. Chisora versus Charles Martin. Why the fuck not? Somebody along those levels. Charles Martin, Luis Ortiz, Yeah, Chisora always comes to fight, man. Always. Win, lose, or draw. Let's go, White China. Let's go, baby. Let's go. That's another fight as well. Andy Ruiz versus Derek Chisora. Yep, great fight. Let's be honest, if Fury wants to go down in history as a great fighter, he should beat White easily. Yeah, that's fair. You guys are sleeping on Wallin. He beats most of the top 10. I disagree. Time will tell, though. Time will tell. Yeah, Anderson is stuck with a small promoter and has to solve that before he can fully join one of the big ones. No, I swear he's with Top Rank. Kaunaki Chisora, good fight. I think he does now as well, Bump of K. I think Ortiz is done. Ortiz still has power, but yeah. I think Chisora beats him. That's another great fight. Chisora versus Big Pharmacy Miller. I'd love to see it. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Jarrell Miller come back. I'll be honest. Did my research on Eurosport when this still happened. They don't have a big fan base. Okay, subscriber base. Okay. Yeah, that's another thing about Tyson Fury right now. The weight. I felt he looked sloppy in that Wilder fight, that third Wilder fight. Reactions were off. He looked very beatable that night. Very beatable. Ortiz versus Ruiz. Good fight. See, these are the sort of fights that should be happening, Bruce, in the heavyweight division. Not just for big title fights, but these contenders need to fight each other. They need to fight each other. You know, try to stake your claim to be the next guy. But a lot of these guys are sitting around and waiting. I want to see more of these contenders fight each other. Absolutely. Great fight. Sign me up. Yeah, true that. Yeah, Discovery Plus worldwide has a huge subscriber base. Yeah. Good to see Big Boys Boxing. I want to see those two guys a lot more active. You know, I mean, I'd like to see those two guys fight each other, but I think they're friends, right? I think they're friends. Yeah, Chisora versus Ortiz is a crazy fight. It's whoever lands first. Plus, they've got a combined age of 135. I think Frank Sanchez beats Wallin comfortably on points. Comfortably on points. That's how I see it. Okay, so you reckon he's got links with Top Rank, but he's also with somebody else? I know Ennis is like that. Ennis is with a small promoter and he fights on Showtime. Jaron Ennis, he's like that. But I always thought Jared Anderson was solely with Top Rank. Maybe you're right, but I've not heard it. Macedonia beat Italy and half their team is Albanian. Luis Ortiz still has hearing damage from the Big Bang. Jesus Christ, man. You guys are harsh on old Luis. Old Luis Ortiz. Yeah, Junior and Hemi both work out of a city kickboxing gym. Are both Thailand and friends, so they'll never fight. Okay, cool. I thought that was the case. Big Boys Boxing, but I'd like to see it still. That'd be a really good fight. That'd be a really good fight. Has Junior Farr fought since the Parker fight? Has Junior Farr fought since? Junior Farr. No, he's not fought since Parker. Damn. Luis Ortiz or Jesus being born. Jared Anderson will be another Calvin Brock. I don't think he'll go anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I like what I see from Jared Anderson, but again, we've not seen him go rounds. We've not seen him take a punch. I mean, he looks good doing what he's doing right now, but it's way too early to say. When it comes to heavyweights, I have a much harder time assessing prospects. Seeing who's going to be the next guy. It's a lot harder at heavyweight. One wrong move can ruin a career. Look at David Price, for example, those Tony Thompson fights. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What will we need to realize as boxing fans that Discovery Plus is the bigger streaming service, and they can cover up for the fact that Eurosport doesn't really have a big subscriber base. I agree. Yeah, it's an interesting link up, Anthony. It's an interesting link up. Kubrat Pulev is fighting soon. Who is he fighting? I'm sure it's a weird ass fight. Kubrat Pulev. I want to say Fedosov. Yeah, he's fighting Andrei Fedosov next on Triller. Kubrat Pulev versus Andrei Fedosov. For what it is, that's actually a good fight. And on the undercard, by the way, well, it's on the same card. You have Sergey Kovalev at cruiserweight. He is fighting Kubrat Pulev's brother, Tervel Pulev. That's a 10-round fight. Tervel Pulev was a very good amateur. He's now 16-0 as a pro. I don't particularly rate Tervel Pulev, but at cruiserweight, he might beat Kovalev. This version of Kovalev, we shall see. So yeah, he's not fought since he lost to Parker. Luis Ortiz stormed the beaches of Normandy. Oh man. Luis Ortiz genuinely has the facial expressions of my nan 6 feet under. I never saw this last Sonny Bill Williams fight, Big Boys Boxing. I wasn't even aware he was fighting, bro, until I saw some shit on Twitter. Is he actually going to commit to boxing? That's a good fight. Pulev's brother versus Babich. I'd watch it. I'm not trying to pull your leg, Lee Davis, but I was genuinely picking Tyson Fury at that time. Genuinely picking Tyson Fury to beat David Price. And this is coming from somebody who admits he picked Tavoris Cloud to beat Adonis Stevenson. So I made my shit picks back then, but I was picking Fury to beat David Price. Eurosport, I believe. Eurosport. He did, yeah. He fought Usyk, yeah. He fought Usyk, Tervel Pulev. And it's weird looking at him, man. He's like a bootleg version of his brother. It's like somebody. Tervel Pulev basically looks like somebody who tried to create Kubrat Pulev on Fight Night. That's what he looks like. And he's like 36 though, Tervel Pulev. He's pretty old. In terms of boxers in the past years, who was the fight about you saw? Who was the fighter that had the most awkward angles in terms of punches that you didn't expect to have? Angle. I guess you could say in awkward angles. Maybe you could say Manny Pacquiao to a certain degree. Maybe you could say Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sonny Bill is just doing his thing, man. He's still though. Fair play to him. Fair play to him. fuck's sake, can't type. Oh, Navarrete right now is a great example. Very good example. Navarrete. I've not researched the Kosovo situation, so I can't really comment. Yeah, I mean, when Chisora fought Tyson Fury, I'm pretty sure Chisora was favouritely the first time around. I mean, to be fair though, like at the time, I can see why people never thought much of Tyson Fury. His like first 10 fights, I can see why. Because honestly, I wouldn't have expected Fury to go on to be a heavyweight champion. My thing with Fury back in the day, I said that Fury was a lot better than people gave him credit for. But I felt he would be a guy who would go on to challenge for a world title, do okay but lose. That's the sort of guy I thought Fury would be. But obviously he done a lot more than that. No, I've been told about it, Martin. I need to watch it. It's on in the background, I think. I hope Wilder's having a good time with those psychedelics. Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I'd like to see that from afar, how he reacts to it. That'll be interesting. Imagine he takes psychedelics and he comes out of his trip like an enlightenment, and he suddenly can box. Can you imagine? He's like the heavyweight Tommy Hearns. Can you imagine? See, I think Ike Ibushi is one of the biggest what-ifs in boxing history. As far as I'm concerned, he would have definitely been a heavyweight champion if he never went crazy. Because you're looking at the late 90s. Tyson was on his way out. Evander was on his way out. Vladimir Klitschko was green. You had some title holders like John Ruiz, for example. If his career continued, Ike Ibushi would have definitely been a world champion. How good of a world champion is hard to say, quite frankly, but he would have been a threat. He would have been a threat, and he would beat a late 90s Holyfield. Prime Holyfield, I'd probably favour Holyfield, but it would be a great fight. Ike was actually very similar to Holyfield. If you look at the styles, very similar, but a bit more explosive than Holyfield. A bit more explosive. Not quite as... Yeah, I'd say he's a bit more explosive than Holyfield. A bit more rudimentary in his approach, but he was similar. Dave Allen said that Lewis Ortiz smelt like dust in an attic. Edwin Valero, he was another one who went fucking psycho. His career would have been interesting as well because he what is it? He killed his wife and then got killed in prison in 2010. He went crazy. But in 2010, he was going to go up to 140, I believe. Was it 140 or 135? One of the two. And he could have been in some great fights at the time. We're talking about like Valero versus Juan Manuel Marquez, Manny Pacquiao, Juan Diaz, etc. Some great fights there at the time. Ike would have definitely been a champion until he lost his title to Vitali, most likely, yeah. And it's funny you say that, Lee. I actually think Ike, against that version of Klitschko, early 2000s, he could have knocked out Vladimir. But I think Vitali was wrong for him. I think Vitali would beat Ike, but I think Ike against an early 2000s Vladimir could very well knock Vlad out. In fact, I'd probably favour Ike to knock that version of Vlad out. It's a shame we never saw him. It's a shame we never got to see his career progress. But, you know, it is what it is. There's another one. Pirog versus Dmitry Pirog. Yeah, middleweight contender back in the day. Very good boxer. A Russian dude, but his style wasn't like Eastern European. His style was herky-jerky, very athletic, powerful. I think Golovkin would have got to him, but it would have been a really good fight. Edwin versus Pacquiao would have been pure violence. You'd imagine that Edwin's defense would let him down in the long run in that fight, but it would be a hell of a war. And that's one thing people always said about Edwin in the gym. The guy could really box, but he just loved to fight. He was tapped in the head, man. Yeah, he was. Yeah, this was, I want to say, Big Boys Boxing. This was in 2014, because if you remember, Bob Arum was talking about having Ike Iwabuchi coming back and fighting Andy Ruiz. Like after like 15 years in prison, he was going to come back and fight Andy Ruiz. That was seriously in talks in like 2013, 2014, whenever it was. It was around that time. Didn't Valero worship the devil before every fight? I'm not sure about that, Volta. I'm not sure. Valero was a beast. Facts. Does anybody know who actually has a ticket for Fury versus White? Because there's about 6,500 tickets on resale. 65,000 tickets on resale. Fucking hell. That's crazy if that's true. Yeah, Pirog was very talented. Really talented. I have to say, another man who had a very disappointing career was George Groves. He should have been a dominant super middleweight champion. Yeah, he had a lot of ability, George Groves. Lovely style, beautiful jab, lovely overhand right. You know, the typical Adam Booth fighter, as Mr. Burns kind of says, Groves' career was ruined by Adam Booth messing him around before Froch won. I don't think that helped. Because even when he, like, after like Cole Froch won, to me, he never looked the same. Something like, it's hard to explain, but like the spring was out of his step after that first Froch fight. To me, he never looked as impressive after that first Froch fight. I think Ike beats Riddick Bowe. I think he beats Riddick Bowe because Ike was always in shape. He had a crazy work rate, great power, great chin, whereas Riddick could get lazy. Riddick was a very talented fighter in regards to skills. He was a very good inside fighter, but his dedication just let him down. And I think Ike would outwork Riddick Bowe. Great fight, though. Yeah, just finished watching James Toney versus Samuel Peter, man. What a fight. We just don't get those kind of fights these days. Yeah, James Toney was a gangster, man. Going from middleweight to heavyweight, fighting a big puncher in Samuel Peter. Great fight, though, man. Great fight. Do you think we'll try and see AJ trying to shut off Usyk's movement to his right side in the rematch? I mean, You'd like to see him try at least, wouldn't you? Has he got the technical ability to do it? Again, I don't think a massive overhaul is a good idea for AJ, but it's little things, it's little incremental things that could win him that fight. But yeah, I'd like to see it. The most famous boxer I sparred was probably Devin Haney. He beat the shit out of me. Yeah, Devin Haney's good, man. He's talented. Tony beat Peter both times. I don't care what the judges said. I thought the second fight was clear that Samuel Peter won. The first fight was close, though. Yeah, exactly. Imagine AJ with James Toney's mentality. That's a monster right there. Facts. Yeah, Luke Campbell, very disappointing. One of arguably our greatest ever amateur. Never won a world title. Always came up short. DeGale was an overachiever. Groves was the real talent all along. I agree. And James DeGale also had a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries. I take Larry Holmes. I think Larry Holmes boxes Foreman's head off. I think a young Larry beats a young George, and I think an old Larry beats an old George. I just think that's a horrible stylistic matchup for George Foreman. Yeah, I thought the first fight was close, Nordic, but the second fight I felt Peter clearly won. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised at Big Boys Boxing if he does. By the way, shout out to Nordic. He done his first live stream a couple of days ago. Really enjoyed it. You should do it more often, Nordic. Just do it when you feel like it. I wouldn't, if I was you, I wouldn't do it when don't feel like you need to do it. Just do it when you really want to. It's good fun, man. It's good fun. Yeah, I mean, he wanted that fight though, James DeGale. He was Mando for the IBF. I think he would have given Froch a lot of trouble early on. I believe when he was fresh and fast. But James DeGale gassed. I think Froch gets to him in the second half. Maybe stops him, but probably wins on points. It would have been a great fight though. Tony Girov was one of the best cruiserweight fights you'll see, man. Great fight. Cruiserweight though is just a great division in general, man. So many great fights over the years. Tony Girov, Guillermo Jones, Dennis Lebedev versus Huck versus Afolabi. Like, two of those fights were bangers, man. So many great fights. Dorticos versus Gassiev, great fight. Some amazing cruiserweight fights over the years. Some amazing cruiserweight fights. No worries, Nordic man. No worries. Callum Walsh, I've heard about him. I've not seen him though. I'll check him out. I agree. I think DeGale wins the early rounds and Froch takes over midway. Froch had the much better engine over 12, yeah. Yeah, Froch was like a diesel engine. Usually he started slow, but once he got going, he was kind of hard to stop, Carl Froch. He's a tough dude, Carl Froch. I know you're not a big fan, Nordic, but he's a tough fucking guy, Carl. Tough guy. Camacho was a good boxer, but his demons outside the ring just got the better of him. His demons got the better of him. And I think recently, actually, the guys who killed him, they were recently arrested, I believe. Yeah, DeGale wins early rounds and then Froch late, I agree. I'd probably take Larry Holmes, to be honest, stylistically. But I like Ike Ibushi. I think he would have been a serious fighter. Serious fighter. Again, one of the biggest what-ifs in boxing, along with like Dimitri Pirog, Edwin Valero, Salvador Sanchez, of course. I think Marquez would have timed him, bro. I think Marquez was wrong for Prince Nazim. Prince Nazim could score a knockdown because Marquez got dropped a lot, but I think Marquez probably gets hurt, rebounds, and then maybe just counters for death out of him, wins on points. The only time I saw Froch look tired in a fight was the first Kessler fight. Kessler attacked his body all night and took his engine away. Yep. That was a great fight as well, man, that first Kessler fight. Camacho was killed by mistaken identity. They thought he was someone else. Sad, yeah. Yeah, he was a character as well. Hector Camacho. Again, there's not many characters in boxing these days. You see some fake bullshit trash talk, but there's no characters now in boxing. There's no characters now in real life. Yeah, everyone just seems to be like a fucking NPC. Like, no interesting stories, no charisma. No one's quirky anymore. We live in a fucking weird time, man. We live in a weird time. Yeah, I think he would school him. I don't think he'd knock him out. Like, I think Naz had a pretty good chin, to be honest. A decent chin. I think Marquez probably gets dropped, gets up and schools him. Which one of Britain's greatest middleweights would beat Carl Froch? Would Carl Froch beat? So we're talking middleweights and super middleweights, right? I actually think he'd beat Eubank. I think he might beat Eubank. He might outwork him. Because Eubank could be very lazy in there, He could sit back and admire his work a bit too much, and Carl Froch could outwork him. Nigel Benn would be a fucking war. A fucking war. But honestly, I think Carl Froch beats Nigel Benn. I think he's tougher. Carl Froch. But Nigel Benn could fucking crack. I think Carl Froch could beat Nigel Benn and Eubank. Steve Collins would be interesting. Steve Collins was a good boxer. Carl Froch versus Sven Otke, who wins? Ask Nordic. Yeah, Purnell died crossing the road, man. That's what I'm saying, though. You never know when your time's up. Like, I've been fucking getting annoyed about silly shit this week, man. Those small little problems, those small little inconveniences, and they kind of add up. And I've been getting pissed off about them, but I should probably just chill and leave it, man. Life's too short. Life is too short. Yeah, Senior was solid but overrated. I think with Eubank Senior, it's more what he did for British boxing more so than his actual resume. Like, he's got some good wins. Don't get me wrong. Like Roshi Yagani, obviously Nigel Benn, Michael Watson. I think Lyndall Holmes as well. He's got some good wins, Eubank, but he has a lot of dross in there as well. Collins wins on points, similar to the first Kessler fight. You could be right. Would be a good fight, though. Carl Froch MD over Froch. Sorry, Collins MD over Froch. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, we are basically slaves to the government, paying them our hard-earned money. For fuck's sake, might as well move to the UAE. Well, at least UAE, people say it's a police state, but at least you're not going to get fucking robbed. If I live in a police state, at least I want to feel protected, which is not how I feel in the UK. Police are useless out here, man. Froch went life and death with a 42-year-old drained within an inch of his life, Glenn Johnson, but he beats Otke though. Nordic's not having it. I think another thing in regards to that fight is where it's at. In Germany, he's not going to beat Otke. I mean, you could see Otke messing Carl Froch around. But again, I wasn't a big fan of Otke. I don't like his style. He was a good boxer. He wasn't as bad as people made him out to be. He was a good boxer, a good technical boxer. The most hilarious highlight reel in Otke's career was when he knocked out Anthony Mundine. One punch knockout. That's crazy. Eubank lost to Ray Close. He had the judges in his pocket, yeah. And he lost that second fight with Nigel Benn as well. He lost that second fight with Nigel Benn, in my opinion. When it comes to Sven Otke, the only real fights I can really recall, because I've seen a few of his fights, I felt he lost the Mads Larsen fight and the Robin Reed fight as well. But like people say about like Glenn Johnson, for example, that wasn't a robbery. I felt Otke genuinely won that fight. And also, was it Brewer? People called a robbery. Again, I felt Otke won. Otke versus Silvio Branco would be similar to how the Froch fight would go, in my opinion. Otke would give away the first round and would figure him out, and from then on. Big up to Boxing Squared. Hope you're good and hope those fatties are treating you well. They are indeed. They are indeed. Yeah, he made Sven Otke look like Julian Jackson. And Sven Otke, I swear, I've not seen that fight in a long time. But Anthony Mundine was doing well. Like, he was doing well. Like, winning rounds and probably winning the fight well. Anthony Mundine, like, because he turned to boxing late. I think he was a rugby league player and he turned to boxing. If he boxed from an early age, he would have been damn good, Anthony Mundine. Because he had some skills, Anthony Mundine, in his prime. Like, he gave Kessler a decent fight. Froch beats Billy Joe Saunders. No, I wouldn't go there. Otke wasn't known as a puncher, but he actually hospitalized several of his opponents. He gave Arturo Gatti's brother brain damage and ended his career. Nardiello was in critical condition for days. Damn. He was a weird fighter to watch, Sven Otke, because when you look at him on the surface, he doesn't look that good, I'll be honest. He doesn't look all that great, but he made it work for himself. Yeah, listen, bro, to tell you the truth, mate, I've struggled. Like, I've not been uploading as regular. Very few things in boxing right now are really capturing my imagination. The Lee Wood fight the other weekend really surprised me. That got me hyped, but like, I don't know. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I'm struggling right now with boxing. The Showtime schedule looks pretty good. There's some fights I'm looking forward to. We got a decent weekend this weekend. But there's nothing really where I'm like, I have to watch this fight. I have to watch this fight. Maybe Fury versus White, Canelo versus Bivol. But apart from that, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. I feel you. Another interesting thing, Otke only had 6 knockouts, but all of them were actually knockouts. There were no British stoppages. That's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Mundine did so well considering starting late and being from Australia. Yeah, and that's not an insult on Australians. But the reality is, there's not as much good sparring out there. So Anthony Mundine had a good career. In all seriousness, he had a pretty good career, considering where he came from. I know his dad was a boxer, but I have the OK Mundine fight on my channel, Del. That was a great performance from Mundine until the knockout. I might watch it again, you know. Yeah, he had a good chin and a really good guard. I feel like it's a boxing depression right now. Yeah, I get you, man. Like, there's nothing out there that's like super hyping me up. I'll get excited for White Fury on the weekend or on the week of the fight. Cool. Canelo B-roll, yeah, cool. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I've really struggled to make content in the last few months. I've struggled to be motivated. Really struggled. So I'm just doing it when I want to right now. I'm not going to fuck this channel off. So I'm going to keep on uploading, but do it when I want to, kind of thing. There's an interesting documentary on Mundine on YouTube. It's called Anthony Mundine Gloves Are Off. Great documentary. I'll give it a look. Yeah, Tim Tszyu versus Terrell Gausha. Yeah. That's a good test for Tim Tszyu. Oh, come on. You're going to get Francis Ngannou killed at there. Yep, Mundine made boxing in Australia popular again, brought in crossover crowds from rugby league. Yeah, and that guy's minted. He's worth a lot of money, Anthony Mundine. Mundine was a talented youth boxer, but turned to it after his rugby league career. Imagine what he could have been. Exactly. Imagine if he stuck with boxing. Because he could really box, man, Anthony Mundine. Like, if he had his amateur career, based himself out of USA early on, he'd have achieved a lot more. And what he achieved was pretty impressive considering. Yeah, Feb and March bad for boxing, but it picks up again soon, yeah. I think once we get into the later spring period, then we'll start enjoying it again. Because there are some good fights on that PBC schedule, like I said. There are some good fights on that schedule. Charlo Castano too, looking forward to it. Fundora versus Lubin, really good fight. Tony Harrison, Sergio Garcia, good fight. Spence Ugas, good fight. So there are some good fights coming up. Again, for whatever reason, tournaments and boxing it's never really been a thing. Don't get me wrong, they've happened as we know, but it's never really been a, like in MMA, like Grand Prix and tournaments are a thing. But in boxing, it's never really been a thing. January to April is my troll season. Ngannou's levels below Wilder says a lot about him. Yeah, listen, Wilder would put that guy in a morgue. Let's not fuck around here. Let's not fuck around. Do you know what, guys? I've still not had my dinner. I'm gonna cook some peri peri chicken. That's what I'm having tonight. A bit of peri peri chicken. January's my troll season. Jesus. Really, I should really be watching this card. This Eurosport card. But again, like back in the day, this is another thing in regards to what Boxing Squared was saying. Like back in the day, like not even like a year ago, I would watch like the most bullshit cards religiously. I'd watch everything. But now, man, I've missed so much shit. Like this past weekend just gone, I literally just watched the Edgar Berlanga fight to do that video, and that's it. I haven't seen anything else from the past weekend. Nothing else. And I'm not going to, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck that shit. Steak dinner, you can't beat a good bit of steak, man. You can't beat a good bit of steak. But yeah, it's chicken for me tonight. Yeah, there's problems with a tournament in boxing. The problems with a tournament in boxing is there's such a disparity in earnings. There's that. There's injuries, etc., etc. Yeah. I like this idea, Colin. Yeah, I agree. I think every couple of years, the sanctioning bodies need to have a mandatory period where all of the champions have to fight each other in the year. I agree. Mr. Burns had haggis and he's got steak on Sunday. I've got chicken tonight. I've got a bit of steak in the freezer, actually. I might have that tomorrow. Steak, egg, and chips. That sounds nice. I think Chris Kongo's fighting a no mark. Pretty certain. Every couple of years. Yeah. Every couple of... I like the idea, though, Colin. I just looked at Twitter. Josh Taylor has been triggering the crap out of so many people. I like this. He's playing the heel. But the thing is, though, a lot of people are up in their feelings about this Catterall fight. I felt Catterall won, to be honest. But, like, what is it with this fight? Like, it's getting a bit much now. There's robberies happen like every other week in boxing, but this fight, like, nobody's shutting up about it. One thing, though, that rematch will be big. If that rematch happens, that's a big fight. That's a big fight now, that rematch. But yeah, Catterall, listen. He needs to move on now. Get on with his career. If he can get that rematch, cool. If not, just, carry on. He's got a much bigger profile now. So... But I'd like to see the rematch. There's going to be a lot more bad blood this time around, if it happens. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. What was the most recent boxing card that you can remember where you can say... where you can remember that was dominated by mostly prospects and up-and-coming fighters from either Golden Boy, PBC, Matchroom, or Top Rank? Every other week, it seems, like mismatched fights with prospects, every promotional company. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Yeah, like Ritzland versus Vasquez was for like one day. It was for one day and it was over, basically. But Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall has been constant. Again, I've been clear about it. I felt Catterall won that fight. But, like, this shit happens in boxing all the time. So what I'll do is, I'll say at the time, I thought this fight was a robbery. I felt the dude lost. Do my post-fight video. That's it. Move on. But yeah, I've seen. This is a weird thing, right? A lot of people, and I believe them, are saying the Sky Sports commentary was terribly biased in favor of Catterall. I believe that. But on the same side, I was watching the fight on an ESPN feed, and they were trying to root hard for Josh Taylor, trying to act like things weren't as bad as they were, kind of thing. So I was watching on the opposite end of the spectrum, where like there was moments when like Catterall landed like a free piece and like nobody said anything. And all they were saying was, oh, well, Josh Taylor's moving forwards. He's the guy who could be making the impression. So, like, the ESPN commentary was bad on the opposite side. I'm worried in 30 years' time, Catterall will be lying in his own piss talking to the wall about how he beat Taylor. Yeah, I felt Catterall won. The only thing with Catterall I didn't like in that fight was the constant holding in the second half. Because early on, if you watch those first sort of 5 or 6 rounds, like Josh Taylor was actually initiating a lot of the dirty shit. But like after a while, fucking Catterall just held him like an octopus, man. That fight was poorly judged, poorly officiated from top to bottom. Yeah, exactly. ESPN were bad. See, we've all got our opinions. Regardless of how we come to our conclusions, I don't think any of us here really listen to the commentary, whether it's biased either way, whether it's ESPN, Sky Sports. I don't think any of us listen to the commentary. This is why we love the sport, Matthew. Adam Smith. I'd like to have the option where you can mute commentary but still hear the background, like still hear the fight kind of thing. You know what I mean? That'd be great. Because these clowns out here saying, "Oh, I mute the fights when I watch them." So you mute the TV and watch a fight live. Nobody does that. I don't care what anybody's saying. Nobody does that. Not live. Maybe on a rewatch, cool, yeah. Not live. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. And if they say they do, don't believe them. Don't believe them. Nobody does that. Because when I see a fight, I want to hear the atmosphere. I want to hear the punches. I want to hear the corners. I want to hear this shit. I don't want to hear the commentators, but it is what it is. Can you remember a fight with either Pacquiao, Mayweather, or Golden Boy where did you notice the commentary was biased, where they were just giving credit to those guys instead of both fighters? I mean, it happens all the time, bro. I mean, it's not even isolated anymore. ESPN will shill for their guy. Sky will shill for their guy. The Zone will shill for their guy. It is what it is, man. They're not neutral commentators anymore. They are basically cheerleaders. Tio's not beating Josh Taylor, man. Yeah, exactly. I think Taylor would batter Teofimo. Yeah, exactly. If Jack Catterall was still with Frank Warren, he'd get that shot. Absolutely. I think he fucked the weight as well, Mr. Burns. I think he was fucked at the weight. As a boxing fan, do you think the terms robbery and bum are overused a little bit to create a narrative for a fan's favorite fighter? Yeah, to an extent. Like, especially the whole bum thing. Like, there's a lot of boxing fans on the YTBC who will cover boxing, but they'll only cover boxing at a certain level, like the elite level, and anybody below that is a bum. I don't like that sort of thing. Like, even like a domestic level fighter, he's not a bum. He's not a bum. That's what I don't like. I don't like the bum thing. You know, I get people say it for hyperbole, but I don't know. And it's not because it's disrespectful. I just don't think these guys are bums. Like, to me, Dave Allen is a bum by definition. Not that his skill set is low, because it is. It's that he's lazy, he's fat, bone idle. Dave Allen is a bum. What is a bum in real life? Somebody who's lazy, who doesn't do anything, doesn't get up and go. That's what Dave Allen is. Just sits back and gets opportunities that he doesn't deserve, and never turns up in shape. Doesn't try. That's a bum in my book. That's a bum. It's not really about skill. It's about how somebody applies themselves, kind of thing. Like, if you've got a guy who doesn't turn up in shape, who blows for weight, who doesn't try as hard as he should, then yeah, that guy's a bum by definition. But as a bitter Englishman, Brandon, I'm kind of glad Italy went out. Yeah, I want to see it again, Al. I want to see it again. I want to see it again, properly officiated, because that'll be a big build-up if a rematch. That's a big fight now. Listen, if I'm Catterall, I'm saying, do you know what, Josh? I'll meet you in the middle. We'll fight over 140. Let's fight at 143, maybe 144, whatever. Why not? You're probably right, bro. You're probably right. Like Kamil Sakalowski, he's got a losing record. I would never call that a guy a bum because he always turns up in shape. He always gives it a go. Doesn't lie down for anybody. Yeah, he's a journeyman. He's a part-time boxer. He works full time, but he does the best he can, and that's all good in my book. It's for guys who don't apply themselves, man. It's for guys who don't apply themselves, like Dave Allen. Like he's had so many opportunities. And he turns up the way he does, throwing 2 punches around, looking fat as fuck. There you go. That's just my opinion. Catterall versus Teofimo is a good fight. I'd like to see it. But anyway, guys. Anyway, I need to think about getting something to eat because I am fucking starving. I am fucking starving. So yeah, I'll do some post-fight reviews this weekend. Definitely for Warrington versus Martinez. Anything other than that will be a bonus, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Have a good weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Stay safe and all that. Peace.